Hello, welcome back to one of our training section. In today's training, we shall be talking about how to make liquid transparent soap. My name is Prince Emi Kasali, and today's section we shall be talking about you making a transparent liquid soap. We are used to Modern Fresh, Big Mama, Sunlight, where we have this transparent, attractive liquid soap. In today's section, we shall be talking about how you can make these transparent liquid soap. So we will be needing 5 chemicals for this particular production. We will need Texapon, we will need SLS, then we'll need cooking salt, we'll need perfume, and we'll need color. To prepare 10 liters, you only need 700 grams of Texapon, 400 grams of SLS, 300 grams of cooking salt, then perfume to your taste, but we recommend 30 ml. Then color also is to your taste, but we recommend 2 teaspoons for 10 liters. But the color and the perfume should be to your taste. The advantage of having more perfume is for you to have good everlasting smell, but the disadvantage of putting too much perfume is that people will be using it to wash their dishes at home, and when you have too much perfumes and the perfume still smells on those dishes, people will see it as too much chemicals that might be poisonous for their food. So you have to also note that the perfume must not be too much, but at least it must be cool so that they find it attractive when using. And cooking salt is just the normal salt you use at home. So the major chemicals here and the most important chemicals here are Texapon, SLS, then cooking salt is something you can have at home. Your perfume you might decide not to use, it's all to you. Then color also you might decide to use, it's up to you also. So before we move further, we need to talk about precautions. You need to be careful. You need to avoid some things. Number one, you must not prepare close fire or a naked flame, because some of these chemicals might be inflammable. So you need to be very careful. Don't prepare too close to any form of light. Then avoid direct contact of these chemicals on your skin. So make sure these chemicals don't touch your skin, your eyes, your nose, and so on. So avoid direct contact, because some of them might be very dangerous to your skin. They might burn your skin, and you should take this away from children. Make sure your children are not having contact or have access to where you keep them, and make sure you also keep these chemicals away from where there is fire when not in use or naked flame. Make sure you don't taste these chemicals also. So these are a few precautions, but make sure you are very safe with these chemicals. So the major chemical here are Texapon. One of the major chemicals is Texapon. Texapon is a foaming agent, and it also makes your soap foamy, like it makes it foam a lot. Then it's a very effective means of washing also, but it foams a lot. And SLS also, it's also a powerful foaming agent, and it's very cheap, and it's whitish in color, solid, and it looks like rice. Some people use these two chemicals interwoven. That means you can use one or the other. In our preparation for transparent liquid soap, we use the two together. Then talking about salt. Salt is a preservative. For example, it makes your soap last longer. If you're keeping it above a month, then you need a preservative. There are a lot of means of preserving soap, but in this particular training, we'll be using salt to preserve. And salt also is a thickener. Immediately you add your salt to the combination, you find out that it gets thickened. Like we said, perfume, you can use any kind of perfume. It's just to have a pleasant smell. Then you can use lemon, you can use rose, you can use pineapple, you can use orange, lime, strawberry, vanilla, and so on. So any perfume of yours. So, and you can decide to mix 2-3 perfume together just to have a brand. For example, if you are using pineapple, some people might have been using pineapple, but when you combine pineapple and rose plus orange, it might give you a kind of smell that no one has. And if anybody is having it, they might not be having it in your own percentage. For example, the percentage of pineapple you're using might be different from what they are using before they have rose and so on. So it gives you a brand. Then the same thing as color. Most people use green. You can decide to use pink. You can decide to use 2-3 colors together. Just blend them together in such a way that nobody has the color. If you're making this a full-time business, then you need to work on it to have your brand. Test 2-3 colors together. Keep testing till you have a solution that you want, and know the combination of the solution. That means know the percentage for adding the color so that you have one brand and it doesn't change. Then the perfume also, you can do it that way. So let's go into production proper now. So moving into the preparation further, the first thing here is the SLS. So as you can see, it's in form of rice. Then we have the Texapon. It looks like pap. Then we have the salt, the normal salt we have at home. That's our color. Then the perfume. So we'll be pouring some water into into our bowl. Then we'll be adding texapone into it. So we need to mix the texapone. It will take some few minutes before it's dissolved. I'm using spoon right now. I realized that the spoon might not be stirring it properly, so I have to use a stick to turn it so that we have everything been mixed. It might take some minutes before it gets properly mixed, so you have to look at it and you see that there are settlements again. So we'll be adding SLS into it. When you add SLS into it, there might be a little bit reactions like flame, so you need to take your nose a little bit away from it. So you keep stirring until you have a well dissolved solution. So we keep stirring till we have something perfect. So we add salt into it. This is our normal table salt, the normal salt we use at home for cooking. So the more salt we add to it, the more thicker the solution comes. As we are stirring, if you look at the stirring, you see that it's becoming sticky. It's like we preparing pap or custard, or what can we call it? So the solution is becoming thick. That's all about our preparation. All we just need to do now is to add enough water, as much water as we want. So we add as much water as we want, depending on what you want. So I'm just adding water till I have what I want. So it depends on what you want. As you can see, it's why it's not as thick as it was. So I would be adding more water, depending on what you want. If you're selling, depending on the amount you'll be selling, but the more water you put in, the more transparent it becomes. Then you need to be careful so that it doesn't get too watery. The ones that we have in the market are not too watery, so just be careful. Depends on you, it depends on what you want. So if this is going to be for business purpose, you need to just keep trying to see what your brand will look like. So we'll be adding color into it. Here we are having green color, so you will be adding green to it. You add your color, you stir properly. So the color also depends on what you want, how green you want it, or whatever color you want to put in. So it all depends on you. Then we have our perfume. So I'll be putting perfume into it. So we have, I think this is lime, and be careful if you're using lime, because lime perfume makes soap a little bit watery. So if you're using lime perf, make sure the water is not too much at the beginning, because when you put your perf into it, it becomes more watery. So that's our perf. I wasn't tasting, so don't taste. I'm checking if it is not too watery. So you can see that's our transparent soap. When it gets settled, see more of it. Well, I'll be pouring some in a transparent container so that we can see how transparent it is. But you need to leave it for some hours before usage so that the reaction would have settled. So that's our transparent liquid soap. Mine is a little bit watery, I think. I was just estimating. So if you're making it for sales, you need to be very careful of the measurements. So that's all about making a liquid soap. As you can see, we have a wonderful soap here, and you have the correct measurements. Make sure you play around with the measurements and make sure you have a wonderful production. Thank you very much. My name is Prince Yemi Kasali. Thank you.